Hey everybody, this is Jack Baldwin with Baldwin Architectural Group. We are doing our first podcast episode of Ask an Architect.
Woo!
That exclamation of joy and glee was from my very good friend Carmen Small. How are you, Carmen?
I'm doing amazing, Jack. Thank you so much for having me.
Of course. So Carmen's one of my guests today. We're going to be talking with her and my other friend who I get to work with every day. It's Rich Bodrick.
Hey, how you doing, everybody?
The
Thanks
third,
for having
right?
me, Jack. The second,
I'm sorry. Just trying to give you one up. So I got Rich Bodrick the second. He's been with Baldwin Architectural Group for 5 years. So the reason I have both of these particular folks on the show is that they're representative of the young professionals that are rising up in Atlanta in the Black community that are doing awesome work. One of them in the field of architecture, the other in the field of property management. And so we're going to get to talk about their work, talk about their perspectives on what it's like to be a member of the Black community and also be a business leader. Because both of them have shown so much leadership in the time that I've known them. So, Rich, I want to give you a quick intro. Here's what we know about you. You've been with us for about 5 years. You went to Tuskegee University.
That's correct.
That's in Alabama. You grew up here in Atlanta area.
Mm-hmm.
And went out of state to an HBC, or historical Black college. But tell us why you decided to go to Tuskegee.
One big major factor in my selection of Tuskegee University, mind you, it's a bunch of Black colleges that are already in the state of Georgia that I could have went to, but my reason for picking that school is mainly because of Booker T. Washington.
Yeah.
He designed and built that school.
Yeah.
Like from the ground up. He had no help. Of course, back then he wasn't getting any help from any white adversaries because it would look bad on them back in that time. So that's what made like his impact, like on the Black community, so special.
That's cool. So you've gotten some particular inspiration from Booker T. Washington.
Exactly.
Brought you into architecture.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when we were talking before the podcast started, you said one of the things you really liked was getting to create something.
Exactly. That's one thing I am passionate about. Just the idea of bringing something to life through our thoughts. Like everything is manifested that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So just the idea of just keeping that same energy.
Well, you got into the right field, man, because that's what we do as an architectural company. We take visions and dreams and turn them into realities. It could be a new home, senior living facility, restaurant, whatever.
Yeah, it's a fun market for me.
It's fun, man, and I know that you produce music.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give you a shout out to. Tell us your handle.
It's double R.
Double R. So
reason being is Richie Rich.
Richie Rich.
2 R's.
Yeah.
but even in my music, I carry that same energy.
Yeah.
And I don't just talk about, what the typical rapper would talk about. At least like you'll get examples from other people. Who's a rapper that they'll think of the most ratchet person that could be. Not you, because I know you.
Right.
I know what you like.
Right.
Yeah, we like the same thing. That's what I get along with. But it's just a stereotype that I wish to eradicate about Black people. Like, you could be a professional that's rapping.
Yeah, absolutely. We've got a rapping architect.
Yeah, you don't have to be in the streets all the time.
But I brought that up because I admire that about you. You took initiative to create art through music to get your voice heard. That's what this is about too. And so Carmen, tell us a little bit about yourself as well. So I know you went to school in East Cobb, not far from where I went to high school, 10 years apart. But we were neighbors at that time, I guess. So you went to East Cobb. Tell us where you went to college. Tell us about All County Cumberland. Just introduce yourself. Yeah.
Hey everybody. Again, my name is Carmen Small. I'm with All County Cumberland Property Management, and thanks again, Jack, for having me.
Absolutely.
And we have now been in business for 11 years. We service the metro Atlanta area, and we do property management. So everything from managing tenants, managing the property while they're in there, signing lease agreements, that's what we do. So definitely, if you're in the need, you're thinking about investing in Atlanta, definitely give us a call. We've been in business now for 11 years,
Yeah.
and it's exciting because business comes with challenges,
Right.
and everybody knows in entrepreneurship that there's going to be challenges, but this year has just brought a totally different set of challenges, from COVID to Black Lives Matter movement to just all of the things that are going on. So I'm excited to be here today to just really kind of sit down and actually get a chance to talk about it.
Yeah.
It's never been a comfortable space too. And so I really do appreciate you for opening up this avenue, because there's things that over the years have come up that, you know, are just kind of swept under the rug.
Yeah.
And now it's the time where people are no longer sweeping under the rug. They're putting it out on Front Street, and what better time than now to go ahead and just talk about it.
Yeah, I'm glad you that's a good segue, Carmen. So yes, at Baldwin Architectural Group, we've been in Atlanta the whole time. And Atlanta was dubbed at one point the city too busy to hate. And I think that comment, I don't know if that's true all the way through to this day, but I think when people dubbed Atlanta that city, they were trying to comment on the racial diversity. We did have Martin Luther King come out of Atlanta. We did have some good peaceful movements. We had Jimmy Carter, who's done a lot for humanitarianism over the years. But growing up in Atlanta, I've observed the increasing diversity of culture that we had, especially right after the Olympics. But we've always had the Black community with us in Atlanta. And so going back to Baldwin Architectural Group, as I feel like we're kind of ambassadors of the Atlanta community. I feel like we have a responsibility as a professional organization to acknowledge and know and love our neighbors well. And so this is a chance for us to do that within the Black community and talk to just two. There's so many more just amazing people who are doing amazing things. But I want to talk to y'all about your experiences.
Right.
What you're observing right now. Because I think we all agreed as we were talking before the show started, this is an unprecedented time for a lot of reasons. But it's kind of like the atmosphere is right for us to finally get a little uncomfortable sometimes.
Yeah.
And ask some frank questions and learn. I think that's what we really want out of this. I want people who listen to this podcast to learn something about your perspective that they probably took for granted. Maybe something they didn't hear. So I feel like Baldwin Architectural Group, I feel like it's our duty to give voice to Black entrepreneurs. And that's what we're going to do today. So I want to hear y'all's stories. Carmen, I'm going to start with you. Let's just say race. Let's just talk about race and just say, what role has that played in your development as an entrepreneur? Has it played a role?
Certainly. So, many people don't think that race has played a tremendous development just because I'm the happy-go-lucky type, right? But in reality, growing up in East Cobb, a lot of racism happened on a daily basis. Kids putting colored on the water fountain, being called names in the hallway. We know what those names are.
Right.
And getting hit by food, or seeing Black guys getting beat up in the woods, and seeing the Confederate flags, driving big trucks and just yelling out, all of these phrases. And I think that, when you walk in Home Depot or you walk in a grocery store and everyone's greeted but your family, or you're taking a walk around the neighborhood and people wave to everyone else but your family, and that still happens today, know. And so I think by the time I reached adulthood, my self-esteem was very much so shot, thinking that it's going to be very difficult to have a career. Am I going to be able to be successful? Am I being held down by what people are saying is the stereotype, or how am I going to do this? And I think at some point I realized, I don't want to be a victim.
Right.
I really, at the end of the day, I didn't want to be unsuccessful and blame it on, okay, it was because I was Black, or it was because someone else was holding me down. It was like, no, I have to get it together. I'm not sure what that's going to look like, but I've got to get it together. And so, I went to some networking meetings, and I was really intimidated because they were like, like lawyers and business people, and they were white.
Yeah.
And you know, I mean, honestly, I'm just gonna be honest. Like, some white people just look successful. Jack Baldwin, right? You know, they just look successful. Like, look like there might not have ever been a struggle.
But,
you know.
But that's a good point to just stop right there for a second.
Yeah.
So you're saying that that can be an intimidation. For
Yeah.
you. And so just to kind of recap. You had this experience growing up where you were treated a certain way just because of your appearance, your color.
Right.
And it was more than just, I mean, we all got picked on. I was short.
Right.
I got picked
right.
on for being short. I had a chip on my shoulder.
Right.
But I didn't experience, somebody calling me a name
Right.
that was attached to my color.
Right.
I didn't experience that kind of ostracization, alienation.
Right.
We'll edit that in post. But that alienation,
Right.
Somebody using an epitaph on a water fountain.
Right.
So there was a mindset. But I guess the question I was trying to get at, what was it like? So that intimidation, what's that like for you? That's something that we don't necessarily encounter ourselves, but you're saying that you were encountering people who you felt were more successful because of their color?
Right. So, I mean, just walking into a networking, space where there's other business professionals, they talk a certain way, you don't know the language. And I mean, it's like their whole entire family is successful.
Yeah.
And so you're thinking, well, how am I going to sound coming off to them? And are they just going to, I mean, when I say that, people were like, Carmen, I can no longer be your friend anymore because you're black. Mm-hmm. Like, you don't know what the thought process is going to be like. And because you're so used to it being a certain way, you think in the back of your head, I'm less than. Less than.
Yeah.
And, and then once you actually start having the conversation and you're like, okay, I mean, it was to the point to where before I got there, because I saw everybody on the website, before I got to my first networking event, I was throwing up, in the car, like, okay. and I kept driving, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do this. And then I sat at the table, I was sweating, and then people started talking to me, and I started talking to them, and I was like, maybe I'm not less than.
Yeah.
Like, maybe they're not seeing me the same way that high school was. Maybe, or elementary school, or, maybe this is different.
Yeah.
And slowly but surely, there started to be a confidence. Mm-hmm. People started giving me business, and I was like, you know what? This isn't going to hold me back.
Right.
Maybe not every shoe is for me, right? But I'm not going to let this stop me.
Yeah.
And then that was the beginning of, I can be successful too, and that's what I'm going to do.
But I think that story is so important for white people to hear too. Atlanta's made up of that diversity.
Yeah.
When, as a white person, I hear that, I'm tuned into, there's somebody who had a totally different experience walking into the same networking meeting I might have walked into.
Right.
And I may have felt a lot of anxiety for my own reasons, but they weren't those. So I think it's important for our audience, I hope, or anybody to realize, like, people do come in with some baggage sometimes. Yeah. And the thing that's better than us to just, dismiss that baggage or act as though, this isn't an issue anymore, we're past this.
Right.
Civil rights thing happened, right?
Right.
No, I think we need to understand that people may have deeper stories than what's on the surface.
Yeah.
We don't all have those experiences, but some people are probably walking in with that baggage.
Right.
And I think it's so important to hear that. And I also want to say how much I admire you for, going into that uncomfortable situation. Starting a business is not comfortable anyway.
Right.
Even, so your father started it and he handed it off to you. What was that like?
Sure. So, we work side by side every single day together. And I mean, anybody that's been in a family business, it's got its challenges, but it's definitely rewarding. And he checks on us once a week. I miss him from the standpoint of being always there and going back and forth. But I would say being side by side with him, that's where I pull a lot of my confidence from.
Yeah.
Because he was able to show me, like, just because this didn't happen, that deal doesn't make or break you, and just continuously not having that victim mentality. And even if I was losing, you're still winning in my eyes, you know? And so I think that that's like, you know, just really great to be able to lean on that.
Yeah.
When I do reach adversity still within the business.
So did your father, sounds like he had some of that gumption.
Yeah.
To like that you've inherited. It
Sure,
sounds like.
sure.
But did he experience some of those setbacks, challenges? Like what was his experience starting his business?
Yeah, so let's talk a little bit about when he grew up. He grew up in Kansas City, Missouri. And in his time, it was very much so segregated. So, you know, the malls were segregated. You go to different bathrooms, things like that. But it was as long as the races didn't interact, then you're good. As long as you don't speak up and say anything, you're good.
Yeah.
And he said, you know, in his day, they were very much so involved in protests, going to school, and just, he was like, you know, back then we had a leader and the protests were healthy. And, you know, we would protest, you would see changes, and overall, he had a really good experience with the Black community, and he made sure that growing up, we always had, like, we went to church in Southwest Atlanta, in a very predominantly Black church, just so we would have the roots of Black history, so when February comes around, we know what's going on. Because they really just didn't talk about that.
So those are some values that he wanted you to have pride in being Black.
Definitely. And I would say now, you know, I appreciate that, because I think that every race should have pride behind it. I don't think that it makes it better than another race, but I definitely think that, you know, when you see people that look like you, it gives you hope, it gives you inspiration. And, you know, I can just say that, you know, being a part of, or having the conversation with Baldwin Architect, you know, and seeing Rich at the table. You know, I'm talking about building a custom home, but wait, I've never seen a Black person do that. Let's just be honest. I haven't. And so seeing him at the table was like, for me, okay, this can really happen. Like, I can really do this. And it's just like, you know, he's young, he's affluent in being able to speak, you know, to what it is that we're talking about, what it is that we're doing. And I think that that just really spoke volumes, because it's now like, well, what can we not do, right?
Yes,
and I think that that's the goal.
Well, yeah, I think what I'm hearing from you is that, yes, there are things that are unique to your experience, but they're not reasons to not succeed.
Right.
Once we really take ownership of our future, you know, I've decided, somebody was horrifically mean to me. Some things in life are not fair. My Blackness is not unfair, and it's a part of who I am, but it actually is something I'm going to draw strength from. Right. And the more I own my future, I like that. I can do anything. Right. That's what this conversation is about, is that seeing a better future is certainly possible when we believe in that, but also when we come together, celebrate the things that make us different, and see those as strengths. Those things that make us different are actually strengths. They're not taking away anything. That's a big reason why we brought on Rich. Was he was a lot younger. My dad hired him, but having somebody who's a lot younger than him gives a fresh perspective. Having somebody who has a culturally different background can connect with people in a way that I don't get to connect, but I get to observe and enjoy, and I derive a lot of satisfaction from that. So,
and you know, just to add in the same thing you were just saying about how, like, we have that drive in us, or that you don't want to, that we can't use our Blackness to hinder us. Like, we can't use that excuse. That same mantra was instilled in me, like, through my parents. Like, since young, because, you know, they grew up in South Carolina, in the 60s, during those times. So.
Yeah, tell us about you, Rich. So that's a good place for us to hear your family story and what brought you to Tuskegee and then Atlanta.
But yeah, like I said, I was born in South Carolina, and mind you, I'm the youngest of 4. So, like, my parents, that was considered the hood.
Well, I mean, but I think that's a good. What's the hood though? Like, tell us about, like, what does that mean?
Impoverished neighborhoods like where it's low income, but everybody, even the children, have to chip in to get things done. And my mother and my father, they both came from that type of livelihood.
Right.
And my father eventually joined the military, and that's how he was able to obtain a job in Atlanta.
Yeah.
And he moved to Atlanta, and that's basically how I grew up here. But that's one thing he always kept with him, made sure that I knew, like, you're not going to be one of those brothers that I've seen. I'm speaking from my father's perspective.
Yeah.
That I've seen, like, that make up any other excuse other than white man held me down. I can't do nothing. Like, they stopping me from getting this. No, like, there's no excuse for you to be successful.
Right.
Like, you just gotta adapt and fight.
But that's a real voice,
Yeah.
and sometimes that voice is given power by the way that there's treatment.
That's why I had the confidence. Even that day when I was hired by your father.
Yeah.
I was on crutches.
I remember that. I remember hearing that
I
story.
went up the stairs on crutches. Like, I was that determined because I just had always instilled that mindset. Like, I want this job. I want to be this person. I want to be an architect.
And that actually was part of what made an impression on my dad was that...
Share.
Yeah.
I don't know the story.
So you're on crutches.
Like, I was on crutches. My brother, I remember this, that my car had broke down. My brother, like, I got this meeting. I know I hurt my ankle playing basketball. But I did not want to miss this meeting. Like, so my brother, he took me up to where was it? It was in Roswell. I can't remember which restaurant, but it was a restaurant that was up the stairs that he wanted me to go to.
Yep.
But mind you, I didn't tell him none of this. I didn't tell him I was going to crutches because it didn't matter at that point.
Right.
I just wanted the job. I wanted to prove that I was dedicated to it. So I went up there, full 3-piece suit in crutches. Went up that staircase. And, it secured the position. And made a good impression. And here I am today. Because I always had that mentality. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be that person to let injury.
Right. And I think that, I have chills from that story because it's like, that to me is the drive that you should have. You can't walk around like I'm less than and I'm not going to get this. It's like by any means necessary. If you any opportunity you have, capitalize on it. Yes. And I actually think that when you walk around with them, you attract what you're thinking, right? And so if you're thinking I'm not going to get the job, if you're thinking I'm less than, then that's how you're going to feel everybody's responding to you. And that's not the case. And they might not even be thinking about like
until you give them that impression.
Right, exactly.
But see, but my observation is that the black community has had a voice in our country that has been telling them you're less than.
Right.
And when that voice is so powerful because it comes from the top, or it comes from people who are in charge, or it comes from people in authority, or it comes from people in power or influence or wealth, it can have a lot more power than it should.
Right.
And so that's why I think it's so important for us to talk about this subject, so that maybe there is a young black person who has, been thinking that. Did you guys, you shared some of those stories, Rich. Did you encounter some of that thinking? It sounds like your dad did.
Yeah.
But did you experience anything personally or observe anything that...
Personally, I can't say I have.
Okay.
That's a blessing, and I acknowledge that because, like I said, I grew up around a lot of black people. My high school, black middle school, elementary, college. It's been that I've been.
So were you a little insulated, Rich?
I was. I think I was. I feel like I was.
So what was it like? You went to a historically black college. So to your point of being around all black people all the time.
No, that's another.
So question really quick. I'm sorry to interrupt, but. So being around white people, was that a culture shock?
Yeah.
It was.
Okay.
And let me explain, because I went to Tuskegee, but Tuskegee is also 15 minutes from Auburn.
Yeah.
So in a lot of cases, like our architectural classes didn't have the equipment.
You go to Auburn?
I would go to Auburn.
Yeah.
And they welcomed me with open arms, which was surprising. But I think that was due to a lot of young college kids who are our age, so they all the same type of energy. But if you go down the street to that neighborhood, you better watch out because I used to deliver pizzas.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they would just look at me funny, even though I had a Pizza Hut shirt on.
Right.
That's the first time I really felt that type of energy.
But you experienced that. That's something that you felt.
Yeah, I felt it. It's like a lot of these situations are not verbal.
Mm-hmm.
It's like just looking at you or giving you a side eye. And I'm the type of person that picks up on that.
Oh yeah.
So like that affected me when I was out there, and that kind of opened my eyes. Like, okay, maybe I need to get around. Maybe I don't need to get around to the wrong crowd. But it's just that it just goes to show like this world is diverse in all kinds of ways. So,
well, to Carmen's point, like with the question, like, did you experience some culture shock? Was it different when you came to Atlanta? Started working in the city?
Yeah, it was the major difference. See, Atlanta is a certain group, certain type of black person. A southern black person, but it really exposed, like going to the HBU, it really exposed me to like, it's like you said, people. Like you went to Pope, and people look at you differently just how you talk. I ran into a lot of that in Tuskegee, like people who spoke with clarity, or people with different dialects, like from Africa. They're all black, but they're completely different. You got individual groups that hang out with each other. It's extremely diverse, and that community worked. So that just to show how diverse our people is.
You're right.
And I want to be this type of person to expose we're not a monolith. That's one thing we always say.
Yeah.
It's like people like to put black people in a certain box. You know what I'm saying? And I just want to show it's not what you think.
Right.
No, that's a great point. That I like the way you said that. We're no person is to be put in a box.
Exactly.
And then Carmen, I was thinking about your comments on mindset. And the law of attraction. That I don't know if you've read
like that.
Success Principles. Have you read Success Principles by Jack
haven't.
Canfield? I want to get you a copy of that book. But because something that you mentioned was about mindset. How have you cultivated that mindset? Like, what have you done to actively cultivate that grit?
Sure.
We've talked about some of the experiences you had, some of the challenges you had, but just talk to us about your mindset. What do you do to keep cultivating it, and how have you cultivated that?
Sure. So, outside of race, I've always been a person that's had challenges. Like, nothing has come easy for me.
Right.
So, in getting my real estate license, it took me 7 tries.
Oh,
I'm
really?
the type that, it takes me a long time to understand things and break it down and get it. And I have to literally drop everything in order to really be focused and be successful at anything.
Yeah.
And so being that it took that kind of highlights also how I was in school. Like, I wasn't making great grades. Like, my grades were terrible. And it wasn't that, I wasn't really interested in what they were speaking on, but at the same time I would say that I am a very disciplined, diligent person, but I just needed my own lane.
Yeah.
And I decided, okay, I'm not the best at what everybody else is good at, but there's things that I'm going to be good at. And so the things that no one can take away from me, no one can take away happiness, that attracts people. No one can take away being on time.
Right.
No one can take away a drive that you have. Like I love how Rich, he got up and got his butt up there for that interview in crutches. Yes, with the suit on. Come on. Yes. And to me, that's really what life is about, is like showing people your tenacity. Like, you're not going to outwork me. I'm going to give this my all. And I think that that's really what ends up pulling you through at the end of the day. It's just that fortitude of that mindset.
Yeah, that's good stuff, because you're right. Like, we may not, I think sometimes we mistake success and talent.
Yeah.
There are things that we're probably more talented at. Maybe one guy's a great runner, another guy's a great reader, somebody else is naturally good, gifted rapper.
Yeah.
But there's a skill. Mindset's a skill too.
Right.
I think grit is a skill that you can develop for sure. So I really, really appreciate those comments.
I'd like to add, there's a quote that I do live by.
Yeah, let's hear it.
It's, hard work beats talent when talent is lazy.
That's a great quote. Do you remember who that's?
Unknown, but I live by that.
So say it again for us. Hard work?
Hard work beats talent when talent is lazy.
Yes.
And I hear so many times people say, oh, well, back in the day I used to play ball, and
Yeah.
you know, I was so good in high school, and I used to. I mean, their whole life is a used to. Right. Back in the day, this, and you know, and they kind of rest their writing on I'm talented.
Yeah.
So I don't have to do the work.
Yeah.
And you know, growing up, I made the basketball team. I was super lazy. I was like, I want to play in the game, but I don't want to practice.
Right.
Miss me with the practice. And the coach said, you know, Carmen, you have two choices. You can either be the water girl, or you can get off the team.
Yeah.
And because I just didn't really want to put in the work, and I'm like, what? Who are you talking to?
Right.
And I didn't realize at that point that it was like I was resting on talent.
Yeah.
But then the hard work, people were the ones that ended up staying on the team. They ended up playing in the games, and those were the people that got recognized. And so that was a fundamental shift for me of hard work is
That's
more
a great
important.
observation. Your drive is going to come from what you're most focused on.
Right.
What do you really want?
Right.
I mean, in your case, if you really wanted to be on the basketball team, you'd figure out a way.
Right,
If you really wanted to be water girl, you found a path to that.
Exactly.
But yes, success, I agree, it does not come naturally. I mean, sometimes it does. Sometimes people are born on third and believe they hit it. So some of us have success given to us. But then even in that case, are you going to be a good steward with what's been given to you? You got an opportunity. Your father got a business started. My father got a business started.
Right.
You and I are both kind of living that same experience.
Opportunity.
Yeah.
Right.
And we've given each other opportunities, but are we going to be good stewards with that? Are we going to be good stewards with the power that we have to be successful? So I think that's a great mindset, is that I don't take anything for granted. It is going to take practice. It is going to take hard work. Success is not just a natural byproduct of being talented.
Right.
But Rich, what about you? What mindset has kept you going and focused along the way? How have you gotten here?
Like you said, the grit. It's that mentality of putting your head down and getting the job done until it's done. You know? That's one thing I always kind of stuck with, and throughout my life, I wanted to keep that mentality because I feel like that's the only way to actually see things get done, or even with anything you can apply it to anything: politics, life, love. Whatever relationship, you can apply to everything. Yeah. If you really want it to be successful or have that successful whatever, you need that energy, and that's one thing I want to. Kind of live by.
Well, we've had a lot of conversations over the past year. When Rich and I get together with the team, we talk about goals.
Okay.
One of the things we always do in our Monday morning meetings to talk about how your goal's going.
Right.
And we've gone through that practice, I think, a lot of like just getting really focused on what is it that you really want. Exactly. And I think asking yourself that question, I mean, for me at least too, is like the more I ask myself, well, what do I really, really want? Or what would be really nice?
Right.
I think you even said it. You were talking to us about one of the success principles. You made the distinction, Rich, about a dream, something that it would be nice, and then something we're committed to.
Exactly.
There was a big distinction that you pointed out when you were leading our group, and you were talking about that type of commitment. I'm committed to this success.
Like you can't be 99.9% committed.
Right.
You got to be all the way.
Yeah, but I think it's easy for us, like the basketball team. It'd be nice.
Yeah.
It'd be really nice if I was the point guard.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think I need to be, but but I mean, we do. I mean, but that's okay. It's okay if basketball's not the thing.
Right.
But a family life, a business, a career in music and in architecture, whatever it is that we really, really want, we're going to put our effort and our time into. Yeah. I want to give you guys an opportunity to speak directly to the Black community, and maybe to other people who might be you 10 years ago, or Rich 10 years ago, or maybe somebody who's dealing with the same self-doubt.
Yeah.
Or maybe somebody who's heard those voices and they've had power over them. Yeah. Talk to us. Like, what would you impart to a younger Black person, Carmen?
Right. Well, I think honestly, the first thing that comes to mind with sitting with you guys is that you can build a custom home. Like, that's crazy to me. And use Baldwin Architect in order to do so.
But talk about home. Like, why is that so significant? I want to hear about that.
So, and I guess home for me, I mean, there's so many layers to it to
Yeah.
me, but home is everything. It's where you raise your family. It's where your life is. It's where, you know, your kids develop. It's so, and I think that, you know, in the Black community, because I am in a rental industry, right? So you do have so many renters.
Yeah.
And a lot of Black people don't see home ownership. They
Right.
don't even see the opportunity to purchase, even if it's still owned by a bank.
Right.
Let alone knowing that there's land available where they could literally do their own thing.
The sky's the limit.
Yeah. And it's like, when I think about that, I almost think of Wakanda and having your own community, you know, and literally taking it that far.
Yeah.
And so, and a lot of people don't know that it sometimes can even be more cost effective to get to build their own. And I think just from a mentality standpoint,
Yes.
a lot of people shut down at thinking about something that seems like it's so far away.
Right.
Exactly.
And it's like, what could you, and to me, what having my own custom home does is it breaks every mold of everything that people thought I couldn't do.
Yeah.
And it makes me in my own world, my own environment, to where I feel like I can thrive at my highest level.
Exactly.
And
Well
I would
said.
say that that's really what I would think that the Black community could really take note on is,
Yeah.
you know, you can really do this, and there's people that can really help you
That
step
want-
by
and
step.
they want to.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Yes. People, you know, and we want to be that. We want to be a company that empowers
right.
people to make dreams come true, but we also want to be the kind of people who navigate that complex world
Right.
so that you can get there.
Right.
And I know we was talking about this before the podcast. It's the idea of gentrification and how it just forces the Black community. You can't force somebody who owned that house out of that. You see what I'm saying? You can't force the owner to move. So I feel like,
Well, talk to us a little bit. I mean, not to get off topic too much, but about gentrification in particular. I don't know that everybody interacts with that the same way. So what do you mean when you say gentrification?
When I say gentrification, I mean, because I do feel like it's a caveat of systemic racism, like to kind of push a certain community out of a certain area that they want to redevelop.
So say some developer with a lot of money sees a place with a lot of potential.
And they don't care about where the people are living there or
that are
moving
there
to.
currently.
Yeah. They just want them out. They just want them somewhere else.
Right.
So they can get that money off their property.
Right.
And I feel like, I mean, this is my wish. I wish it was more of the community owning their establishment so they can rent it out versus just, being forced to relocate, or if they want to make that neighborhood better and helping in some way.
Yeah.
We have more people with that type of mentality or mindset to want to build their custom house.
Right.
Or, want to have some sense of, a home to really call it a home, not something that somebody else owns that you're just staying in for a time period.
So what would you say to people who maybe they've experienced the negative effects of that and they need to hear a voice of empowerment?
Well, what I would say to them is, like, you don't have to be that person living on edge, sort of say.
Yeah.
Like, you could be that person, that have some sense of ownership, like nobody's moving you. Because that's like just growing up in a home. Like, I had a home to grow up in.
Yeah.
I know a lot of people didn't have that. I know it was a lot of people in their house. But
Six of you, right?
it was deep.
Yeah.
But at least it was some place I can always go to, like, that's forever in my family.
Yeah.
That I can call it home. Like,
Right.
we can build generations from that house.
Right.
Even if we don't, like, get another property, as long as we have some sense of, like, some type of heritage to look at. Like, oh, we used to stay there.
Yeah.
What I'm hearing from both of y'all that's so inspiring is that home ownership is something that maybe the Black community in particular.
Yeah, like you said, so many layers.
Well, they
like,
felt.
Yeah.
And you can tell me if I'm wrong, but are you observing that many people in the Black community feel like that's out of their reach? Home ownership.
Yes.
For sure.
Yeah.
And that's the mentality I will hope to change one day.
Well, and you're in a unique opportunity to do that, Rich, because again, Carmen's somebody who we've talked about her potential custom home. But I think what you've told me, Carmen, is that your experience has been that Rich is somebody who can breathe life into those dreams, into those thoughts. Yeah. And there's a lot of people like Rich that we want to keep partnering with that give life to a dream.
Yeah.
So if we're doing a good job, if our company does a good job, we listen first.
Right.
You know, that's the whole point, right?
Exactly.
Like we're going to listen to your dreams. First, we need to listen and understand. If we understand the dreams, then we can start coming up with a plan. Exactly. And it's really not that impossible. But it does have to start with being open and listening and hearing what people really want from our house instead of telling them, no, you don't.
Exactly.
Like Carmen may want a waterfall in her living room, but we're going to find a way to do that.
Right.
But I think this is such a good opportunity for us to empower people. Coming from the white community, home ownership was almost taken for granted. It's I rented for a long time actually, and I remember a lot of people kind of questioning that decision, like, really, why would you want to rent? You know?
See,
it's like, it's not a question.
Yeah, right. Well, for me at the time, it was a good fit for my lifestyle, but it's also like, well, I kind of like not owning things.
Yeah, gotta fix it.
I'm about to become a homeowner this year, but
congratulations.
Thank you. But that took some time, and my point in bringing all that up is to say homeownership's not always something that should be taken for granted.
Right.
And I think it's refreshing and eye-opening for me to hear you guys say that. It's like, you know, we do see people who maybe home ownership is scary. Yeah. Or maybe they're going to have to sit across from somebody who intimidates them.
Right.
Who's going to ask them questions about their income.
Right.
Yeah.
And could that be your credit history and whatever you're living? I mean, there could be some vulnerability that people may say, oh, you know, it's just not worth it.
Right.
Yeah. So
there's so many layers to, like, to getting a home. Like, you have to have had a job, you know, and been stable and, you know.
But, you know, it's encouraging that, you know, young people like you, I sound old when I say that. Again, only 10 years younger, but you guys are that next generation of the workforce. You guys are and I am too, but we're part of that next generation of the workforce that, you know, even if it's just the three of us talking on a podcast to say, we're committed to that. We're the kind of people who want to empower others and make those impossible dreams, those things that seemed impossible, become reality.
Right.
Carmen, you're doing that in your way too. You guys are providing some excellent services for people who really need it.
Right.
For property management. Man, guys, I feel like we could talk for another hour. It's been so helpful, and maybe we'll do it again.
Yeah.
We'll talk again soon.
This is fun.
So, Rich, I want to give you a platform to say what we want to hear about Rich. So, Rich, you're our wrapping architect. Been with us for 5 years. You've worked on some really good projects with Baldwin Architectural Group. I have one question for you. Which project, if you can think of one, it's totally putting you on the spot.
All right.
But which project are you most proud of, or do you have a project you're very proud of?
Yes. It's a house. The reason why I'm so proud of that house is a house that's being constructed on Sandy Plains.
Okay.
It's a 5-bedroom, 3-car garage, and it's extremely modern. So the reason why I'm so excited with that one, because I legit designed that one. Yeah. Like, it's, you know, we have...
Yeah, you put a lot into it.
Yeah, I put a lot of creativity into that.
Yeah.
You know, so I feel like that's my true baby.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, so the fact that I'm seeing that, I think I did that project roughly 2 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's finally, like, coming
together.
Yeah, coming together, so it's excited. That's excited. See, that's the one for sure for me.
Awesome.
It's up there. And I know it's just a house, but it's... Because in a lot of cases, like, clients will come to us with already like, ideas
this
and
is
concepts.
What I want.
Yeah, but this time I had total control and I just enjoyed it.
That's great.
Nice.
We'll have to get some pictures of that house when it's complete so we can put them up.
Yeah.
Carmen, kind of same question for you. What are you most proud of about as an entrepreneur, as a leader, business leader? What are you most proud of looking over the last 11 years?
Sure. I would say really the opportunity that it's created for not only our family, but also others. being in business creates such an extension for so many people and so many jobs. I mean, we have so many vendors and opportunities for other people, and so I would say that really we're all in it together.
Yeah.
It's
Nice.
not easy.
Yeah.
And we're all fighting this fight of life together, right? And so I think just
You're
having...
not enemies.
Right,
Yeah,
right. And so we're all, just on our own paths, just trying to get somewhere. That's
Yeah.
all. That's
Yeah.
all. And I think that, I'm heavily believing in just the law of giving is when you
Yeah.
give, you receive. And
Yeah.
give more, receive more.
Yeah.
And so
I have a personal law of energy. Like
Yeah.
the energy that you give, you will naturally receive. So,
right.
Like I carry that same mindset.
Exactly.
Well, and speaking of giving, wanted to hear from both of you guys. Are there particular organizations that you're excited about right now that people could give to, or that you're giving to, charitably or purposefully? Are there things that we should know about?
I can say I was talking about the gentrification a lot.
Yeah.
One company that battles that is the Housing Justice League.
House Injustice?
Housing.
Housing
Housing.
Justice
Yeah, Housing Justice League.
League. Okay.
And like what they do, it's local. It's basically focused on people surrounding the Beltline, and they're just giving them funding like to be able to help them sustain their house versus forcing them out.
Excellent.
Right.
And is there a website? That you
Yeah.
know? We'll post a link.
Yeah.
Can you know it? I don't want to put
not
you on
off the
spot.
cuff. Not
All right, but it's called Housing Justice
Yeah.
League.
Housing Justice League.
So Rich recommends Housing Justice League. We'll make sure that we have a link so that people who want to support that can get behind it. They are fighting gentrification. They want black people in Atlanta to have affordable housing.
Exactly. Well, and that's another thing. They're also focused on developing affordable housing around the area
Excellent.
versus moving them out.
Cool.
Gotcha.
Carmen, is there any organizations that come to mind that you guys are excited about?
So I would say this because I've been in such a space of trying to figure out who to give to.
Yeah.
How do I want to give? What do I want to do? I don't want to overcommit to something that I don't want to do, and all of that.
Right.
And recently, what we've been doing is going out and feeding the homeless.
Excellent.
And literally, I just have to give a shout out to the people on the highway, like in Atlanta, right by Grady.
Yeah.
Going on 20, there's all these tents,
Yeah.
and so we've been grabbing like lunch and
Good.
pizza and feeding some of those people, and they've been super grateful. And I think that in a time like this, I just say try not to get caught up in your own head about it, so you're paralyzed.
Yeah.
And just give somewhere. I mean, even if it's like, for example, I've just been feeling it in my heart to get cash before I hit the road because there's so many people when you're getting off the highway now. And it's just like homelessness is going up. If your church is doing something, give to your church. Like, just do something.
Yeah.
Know that anything helps.
I think you're right. Sometimes I get analysis paralysis
Sure.
with wanting to do something really, really meaningfully good. And you know what? Like sometimes a hug, sometimes a sandwich.
Powerful. Go a long way.
Yeah,
Right.
but they really do. And I'm glad you said that, Carmen. And I'm glad that you guys as a company are doing that together.
Yeah.
Because there's no good thing that goes unnoticed. There's no. I mean, it all makes an impact, and it always does matter. Absolutely matters. You guys have been an inspiration to me, and the conversation's been inspiring and eye-opening. So we're gonna wrap up with some takeaways. Rich, what can we do if we want to listen to your music? If we want to support you as an artist, give us your quick little commercial on Rich R.
Okay, so if you want to hear some good quality music, I suggest
You want to
you.
give us a quick sample real quick, a little freestyle?
On the spot like that, But like for real, like because I feel like the way I write the music, the quality I present it, I feel like it'll be worth the while to listen to. And if you want to,
So you're on Spotify.
Yeah, I'm on Spotify, Apple Music, Tidal, everywhere.
And so how do we find you? Just R?
DBLR.
DBLR.
Yeah, you should see an album on there. You should hear this.
All right, you should hear this. That's rich.
Yeah.
Carmen, tell us about All County Cumberland.
Yes.
If somebody wanted to work with you, what would they want to do?
Sure. So you can visit our website at allcountycumberland.com.
Yep.
And also we're on Facebook, we're on Google, we're on Instagram.
Awesome.
And if you want to give us a call, feel free.
Well, give us who would be a good person to reach out to for you to hear from.
Sure. So if you have investment properties, or if you are thinking about investing in Atlanta, or you're just looking to get out of Atlanta and you don't want to sell your property, then I am your person.
Awesome. So that's Carmen Small, All County Cumberland. She was sharing some space with us here at Spaces up until recently, but we are going to remain good friends with Carmen and her team. Rich, we're going to keep him around for a very long time. Very talented young man in a lot of ways. So this was a little bit of a different Ask an Architect, but this was really fun. Thank you for tuning in, those who stayed with us for the whole hour, and we will look forward to doing it again. Carmen, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Rich, thank you very much, brother.
No problem.
Appreciate
And
you guys.
Jack, really quick,
Yes.
how do we contact?
Oh, you want to talk about Baldwin Architecture?
Yeah, we want to hear about how can we build a home? How can we get our stuff done?
I'm glad that Carmen bailed me out. So yeah, we love working with folks who have a dream. That's the biggest thing we love to partner with. It could be residential, it could be a restaurant or senior living facility. If you have a dream about a new project, what we do is we give an hour of free time with one of our architectural designers, so you can actually sit down and just dream away, and we'll help you get the first step going so that dream can become a reality. It's a really complicated process to build a new home or build a new restaurant, but we really pride ourselves in making the complicated simple. So folks can visit us at baldwinarchitect.com. Thanks for propping me up, Carmen. This is a lot of fun, guys. Really appreciate y'all. Very grateful for the time. Until next time, this is Jack Baldwin with Ask an Architect, and we'll see you again soon. Thank you.